Robert Traw, and my role in Pittsburgh Creators Project right now is I am the president of the board of directors. I'm in my last term as president, according to our bylaws, and I also oversee the Symphonic Winds portion of the organization. So that's one of the projects in the Pittsburgh Creators Project, and that happens to be something I'm very passionate about, and I kind of come to the Creators Project through music, and so that was something that I really tried to steer into existence as the Symphonic Winds aspect of what we're doing. The only organizations I know of that do something similar to the summer reading sessions is when maybe another chamber ensemble associated with Pittsburgh puts out a call for Pittsburgh composers to submit works for their chamber ensemble. And that might happen once a year on their cycle. And then there are opportunities in some of the schools of music around the universities, Carnegie Mellon, University of Pittsburgh, Duquesne here, where there are ensemble directors that might open up the opportunity for a few of their students. But for the general population, I do not know of any large ensemble opportunities that are open to anybody who's willing to submit, which ours is. And it is, from what I understand, the only large ensemble dedicated to bringing new music, specifically for wind band, but large ensemble, into existence in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, it was really wild to hear all of these very different sounds different from my compositional aspect, but also my performance aspect. I don't normally play around with music that it was in that style, and then those unconventional techniques, getting it all synthesized was really wild for me. It was very exciting.
Part of why I enjoy composition is because everybody approaches it through their lens. So whoever they are, they bring a little bit of that in their training and into their own interpretation of their music. And sharing that with the musicians. I just enjoy that collaborative process, but at the same time, it's really, for some of the composers who have submitted works twice or three times over the last 4 years, to see the growth in some of them as well. I can think of a couple of the composers, and to see the growth between when they first came to the summer reading sessions with a piece of music and how that went, and the dialogue that maybe we had after, and with the musicians who performed the music that year, to see their growth after being involved in this, I think is maybe my favorite part, because that tells me it's proof that this is valuable and it's working.
This opportunity, though, the composers are a little bit more mature. They have a better idea about where they want to go, in their own style and their own voice. So it's really nice to be able to read more mature music.
A couple community events. There's not a lot of places to just sit down and play. And if I would want anything more for this kind of group, it would be great if it could get to a point where this could be a monthly thing. Because just coming down for a night, a month, being able to play music with people, I don't know if that's in his plans, if the funding is there. If it is, great, because I, for one, will be at every single session of one of those, because I just get to sit down, play music for a night once a month, and just play a bunch of new music and help composers listen to their pieces. It would be a great opportunity for everybody involved.
I try to give every single piece of music, no matter how easy or hard it is, the same level of respect. So I always sit down, figure out my notes and rhythms, look for any dynamics, especially as I said, this music, there's so many little good details to really latch onto, the accents, the articulations, the dynamics. They're all really well thought out. So I try my best to bring that out, because that's what the composer wants to hear, especially when the composer's in the room. So to bring that out is super important.
It's exciting. It's like a Christmas, it's opening a new gift all the time, and always waiting to see how that sounds in a real life, because you can play that from any program or MIDIs or any systems, but when you are in the middle of the band or the group and you can feel the music in real life, is amazing. Discovering all the new music is always a privilege. So I cannot imagine being in another place, because I assume that this is a great opportunity as a musician to discover music and also to get some new look into the musician of the composers is really hard because we can make a lot of music, but sometimes the music is sitting on the computer for a long, long time. So we need to create the necessity to start playing new music at least each concert, or needs to be part of the universities and the orchestras all around the area to include new composers all the time, local local composers from the universities, local composers for different places also needs to be part of the regular schedule for the orchestras, and also needs to be part of the universities, like a side reading sessions is really interesting for everyone. So I'm gonna say that if we can put more new music around the area, will be amazing.
You can play some music, dedicate some time for some other musicians, and in turn, they get to give some time back to you. You can strengthen your portfolio, you can learn and develop as a composer, and most of all, you get to spend some time with some really amazing people.
Really like humbling experience to, you know, have all these different walks of, you know, their professional career come together for like the support of like this idea that, you know, to get this garden to grow in Pittsburgh, it's going to take, you know, a village. And our village in Pittsburgh is pretty robust from arts and culture, but you know, just like anywhere else in the country, the pathways still need to be, you know, nurtured and cultivated, and this is one of those opportunities that I think it's just really special to see all those different parts of someone's career come together.
Every person comes in the door and says, I'm going to dedicate my talent for this small period of time to the vision of the person that wrote this piece. An entire group effort of, I don't know how many people were in there, 50, 70? And they're all going for one thing. It's just, there's nothing like it.
Don't get to read band music ever, really, as an adult freelance musician. I think that you go from, if you decide to pursue a career in music, you go from reading in ensembles every day almost, and especially wind bands. A lot of collegiate programs are wind band centric. So you go from reading in a wind ensemble 3 to 4 days a week. Once you're out, the bottom falls out and it's like, okay, where are these opportunities? So I think it's really special to be able to get a bunch of different people together just to read music in a band setting. It brings back a lot of memories, nostalgic for a lot of people. And you know, you have people in their 60s, 70s. You have people that are just starting college in the ensemble. For me, I'm kind of in the middle, but it's really nice to see educators that were doing PMEA festivals when I was a student in high school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know him. You know, he taught at this school, he taught at this school, and I remember seeing him as an educator. Now I'm playing with him in the group. Really cool. And then also seeing students that I've taught play in the group now. There are very seldom opportunities to create something new in the world. And, you know, this could be happening around the world, but I think for some, Pittsburgh is the world. For me, it's my home. I haven't left. I've had opportunities to leave. But to see the amount of growth that it's done professionally, musically, you know, human-wise, just the city that it's become, it deserves this opportunity. And so I think that Rob being able to create it, as well as the people on his support team, is something really special and amazing. And I think that it gives Pittsburgh a little bit of an edge as far as being competitive with other giant music cities, but it really, really gives composers a kind of safe space, somewhere they feel like they can have their music read without judgment. They can experiment, they can, you know, have good feedback, and everybody really enjoys doing it. And I think that's what makes it special.
It was a top-notch, world-class experience. Something that I should have paid tons of money to be a part of. But to have this project be put in place and for me to benefit like I did from it today is just outstanding. It's unbelievable. I would suggest everyone that even has an inkling that they want to try it come through PCP. This piece is a part of a series that I put together called the Rediscovery Series. And in that Rediscovery Series, what I'm doing is finding celebrated composers that may have been left out of the canon because of their race or because of their gender. These celebrated composers are award winners. These celebrated composers are mavericks in their field. So far, I've started with Florence Price, who was the first African-American female symphonist here in the United States and has had her works played by the Chicago Symphony. And of course, Curtis Graduate with the piece that we did today, Live for Strings by George Walker.
Like I said, I like getting the chance to play in a wind ensemble. Not only that, but play new music that hasn't been played. And not just that, but new music by local composers. So it's not only wind band music, but music that is new and music that's local. So it just feels very like, I don't know, like almost pride in like your city or hometown or something weird like that. My computer doesn't have any soul. So it sounds like I've spent money on getting decent MIDI sound so that it kind of is generally what I want. But actually having people play it is a completely different thing because they put their artistry into each individual part. It's always intense to bring it to people because I remember being in the chair being like, oh, I don't like this piece, and now I'm like, oh no, what if I'm the piece? but no, every single person in this group is here one because they want to. It's not a monetary thing, and they're there to play new music, so everyone's supportive and giving everybody like respect. It's awesome.
I just want it to continue. I want it to continue happening. Once a year is great, but even more often would be fantastic. I think Rob does a great job with running it and everything, and thanking the composers for their time too. Like, it was great to hear what their pieces are.
Things read by groups I've assembled myself, and that takes a lot more effort, and that takes a lot more time and resources, and then I'm paying you with pizza, and you have to kind of rely on the goodwill of people. And I'm thankful that there's a big enough network here that we can get enough goodwill of people to come and get butts and seats, and even I think the idea of paying these musicians is admirable, and I'm thankful that it still exists even in the absence of that, but I would love personally to start a choral one. I have plenty of choral pieces that I haven't been able to get read or I haven't been able to get recorded, so I would love, Rob was talking about this being a standing thing for jazz ensembles and orchestras and chamber groups and all these other types of ensembles. That's why don't we do that? I would love to have that an outlet like that. As someone who has benefited personally from it, I can't stress enough how much this has helped me out. I really owe this group a lot. So I guess it would just be thank you, because and truly thank you. I probably would not be in the same spot where I am today without stuff like this, to get live feedback and to get live recordings for promotional marketing purposes. It's great. It's really awesome. So thank you.
This kind of thing, and to be able to have composers talk to each other about the process, it's a valuable thing that I don't think you can undersell, because the most intimidating thing that a musician can encounter is a blank piece of staff paper. And how do I get that idea out? And okay, once I get the idea out, how can I make it better and how can I refine it? And so Rob, in setting up this process, is building a network, a collaborative community that's like, hey, let's listen to what you're doing and let's get some other people's ears on it and see if that doesn't help make you better, because those are all awesome musicians in that room, and they've had great experience playing in different bands and different rep. And their insights are great, and I really took time to study. I took time to study the scores before I came down, because I'm just trying to take it all in so that I can give them as much as I am able, because I know the composers in my own life, people like Quincy and people like Brian and Pat and Julie, who at various points, gave me some really valuable advice because they were willing to listen to my questions and listen to my ideas. Seeing the joy in the faces and even like watching them through the rehearsal process, and like they would stop and they would go back and rehearse something, and you'd see people pointing at the music like, I'm going to get that next time, and but then they do, and so that's such just an amazing part, and when you're surrounded by people that make you want to be better and do better, like that's where we should all be trying to be as a community. Like community musicians, well, community out there too.
So the Pittsburgh Creators Project, the goal of it is that it's run by the creators themselves, people who have a vested interest in creativity in Pittsburgh and supporting creativity in Pittsburgh. And the reason it's called the Pittsburgh Creators Project with the apostrophe after the S is because it's the Creators Project. So if there is a creator out there that is interested in like finding a pathway forward for their particular idea, this is the type of organization for you. So thankful to all the musicians who donated their time and the composers for taking a chance on the wind band as a large ensemble medium, and I thought it went really well, and hopefully the composers are happy with everything, and just a lot of great notes of thanks from the musicians and all involved. So I'm really happy with how things went. If you do have the financial means to give to the organization to host a concert of all Pittsburgh music, then if we can raise the funds, we would love to put on another performance. We'd love to get to a place where this becomes a sustainable part of a portfolio career for a performing musician. They're not only nurturing and cultivating like the creative efforts of our community, but they're also creating a performance opportunity where those creatives can be showcased.